The universe is not deterministic, technically speaking. There isn't any dispute about that.
Oh, I knew that this day would come. The day of me reacting to a Jordan Peterson video. Well, this could make or could break my channel. Let's find out. All right, welcome back to Magic Isn't Real, the place where while you're reacting to a Jordan Peterson video, free will is one of those things that is being hijacked by a lot of like gurus and like grandmasters wannabe to basically explain the way in which you can create and manifest your own reality. In my own opinion, I don't think free will, first of all, I don't think there's even a coherent definition of free will at this point. And second of all, I don't think free will is compatible with our universe at all. And even if you believe in a God who is supposed to be omniscient, free will then is also incompatible with that. So when on my feed, I suddenly saw a video titled Jordan Peterson Explains Free Will, I actually got really excited because he's one of the greatest minds of our generation. Okay, no, let's clarify a few little points over here. I actually don't care about politics. I actually don't even really follow much of what this guy's kind of say or do in a daily life. Care about any of that. I'm looking at this video specifically because I have a true interest in whether or not free will exists and can be used to manifest your reality, or whether or not it's just complete made up. All right. And I thought, since this man has a massive following and he's supposed to be a really, really clever person, as far as what everybody says, I figure, hey, maybe he's going to give me a definition of free will that's going to blow my mind. So let's check it out, shall we?
Dear Dr. Peterson, do you believe that mankind truly has free will? Or are our actions/thoughts all predetermined? If the latter, how do we find meaning in this?
It's not a matter of belief.
Okay, can you at least let the person finish ask the question? Controversial statement of today. Finding the meaning of life, it's a scam. Like, people that are trying to obsess you with this idea of like the meaning of life, they want something out of you. Most of the time is that they want you to buy their book. If you want to find your own meaning of life, here's what you're going to do. Pick one. And boom, that's your meaning of life. If after a couple months you don't like that one anymore, change it to another one.
The future is unpredictable, technically speaking. The universe is not deterministic, technically speaking. There isn't any dispute about that.
Demonstrably false. There's a lot of things that we can predict. We can predict that our sun is going to die because we know how stars work, okay? We can predict that if we keep on effing up the planet the way we're doing, you know, we're gonna get to a point where we might all die before we get to see the sun dying. Just kidding. None of us is gonna get to see the sun dying because we all gonna be dead when that happens. Which is another thing that, guess what, we can predict. I can predict that no matter what decision I make right now or tomorrow, I'm gonna die one day.
You're not a clockwork machine. And the reason that we know that is because a clockwork machine can't compute the transforming horizon of the future.
I'm sorry, if you don't eat, if you don't sleep, if you don't drink, you die. That's a pretty machine way of like being. And whether or not an actual machine can see the future or not, or we can see the future or not, like it's not a way to prove anything. Now I'm stepping into word salad. You see what you're doing? I think it's contagious.
That's a different issue because it's not exactly obvious what free will means, and it's obvious as well that to some degree our will is bounded, but it certainly does mean that whatever you are, you're not a deterministic clockwork machine.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. You cannot give us a whole thing about not being machines and then say, no, but that's not the issue, because we actually don't even know what free will is. Which, by the way, that's it. You don't know what free will is. Just say you don't know and don't try to explain it.
The farther out into the future we look, the less determined our perceptions and actions necessarily become.
Actually, I can tell you that the further I go into the future, the more I can tell what's probably going to happen to myself. Let me give you a solid example. Besides the fact that I'm gonna die, okay? The older I'm gonna get, the more limited my choices are gonna be. That's simply how it is, because I'm getting older, because like it's gonna be tougher to like learn new things, because like many other things. And the thing is that this actually follows with having a predeterministic universe.
And we don't, well, I'll leave it at that. So
Did he just glitched? He totally 100% just realized that the previous 2.5 minutes made no flipping sense whatsoever. So he just throw a quick like, I'll leave it at that. Okay, you figure the shit out.
I can give you a contrary vision that's associated with what I talked about tonight. You're not a clockwork machine. What are you? You're a visionary.
You're not a clockwork machine. You're a visionary. I feel like you can be both. He said like you're a visionary as if that immediately nullifies the possibility of A, free will not existing, B, the universe not being predetermined, and C, you not being a machine.
You think there are objects in the world, and you think that you react to the objects and in a deterministic way, and none of that's true. You don't see objects that are objective. You see patterns that are functional, and they don't determine your action because you're not a clockwork machine driven by stimulus. All of that's wrong.
You know, if a big boulder was rolling towards me Indiana Jones style, I'm pretty sure that that object would predetermine my action, whether or not I'm driven by stimulus or not.
Imagine what you confront when you wake up in the morning. You might say, well, I wake up in my bedroom and I confront the furniture. It's like,
don't act frustrated as if like, oh my God. This question is hard. I wish people would stop like asking me about free will. Just don't be dumb. Don't be like, do you think that's air that you're breathing? Bro, you're in the Matrix, okay?
imagine you're at a theater and you're watching a play and the stage is set with the props. And the actors come on and they say their lines and you say, the props caused that. Like none of that's even vaguely true. And you know, the props in a play aren't objects either. They're facilitators of the symbolic message of the play.
I got nothing. Not only I don't know what to say to that related to the concept of free will, I don't know what to say to that in general. He's just trying to explain that the free will exists because you make your own reality. You're like the things around you do not control you. You are the one who control them. Actually, even better, you're the one who created them.
And I think you can say that about the objects in the actual world. They're not objects.
Why does he keep on making air quotes when he says object? Guys, I want to thank you so much for being here. And if you don't mind, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel. And if you can also press the like button that's next to the subscribe button, and like even share the video with your family and friends. That would be truly Okay, guys, this is a good moment to stop for a second. And I just want to say that I feel like now he's caught in a trap. Like, I feel like he just doesn't have an answer. He doesn't have a direct answer on what free will even is, if we have it and whatnot. And he's just struggling a bit, trying to give an answer instead of just saying, I don't know.
And then what do you confront when you wake up in the morning? Well, it's not the damn furniture in your room. It's the possibility of the day. It presents itself as a problem. And you might be very bad at that, which just means you're impulsive.
Ah, here we go. If you're just impulsive, if you don't think about things, then yes, this looks like everything is predetermined. Like, but it's just because you're just bad at free will, my man. You got to step up your free will game, man.
Short-term visions, so you're more hedonistic and immature in your visionary orientation, or you're sophisticated and you integrate the possibility that makes itself manifest to you, and then you grapple or wrestle with that emergent possibility to realize it. And by doing that, you participate in the creation of the world.
Wow. That was beautiful. What does that have to do with free will? See, this is the problem that some people struggle. I have a lot of friends where I have this conversation with. Sometimes I'm brave enough to bring up that I don't think free will is a thing. I don't think we have free will. And there's always this kind of response of like, oh, but if we don't have free will, then nothing I do matters. People react to this knowledge that free will is not a thing as if something has suddenly been stolen away from them. Like if there's no free will, there never was. Your life doesn't change. It was a beautiful thing that he said, focus on your day, but it really is not. It doesn't explain free will, first of all, which is, again, the title of this bloody video. And second of all, it has nothing to do with free will. He didn't explain free will. He didn't even give a proper definition of free will. He actually kind of is admitting that he doesn't know. And he just went into his normal clean your room things that he does every single time, which is fine if you need to clean your room, but I'm a grown-ass man and I'll decide what to do with my room and which furniture I say hello in the morning to, okay?
The fact that you're of that kind is the reason, for example, that our culture is predicated on the idea that you're made in the image of God.
That's you. That's you. You are God. You are an entity we have zero evidence of the existence of. Therefore, free will. Fantastic. We solved it.
And you can tell that because if you do it right, it's deeply meaningful. That's why it says in Genesis, repeated over and over after each day of creation. And God saw what he had created, and it was good.
Oh, guys, you get it? It's the one thing that you do that you know is right because it feels good. At the end of the day, free will was inside us all along. Free will is the friends we made in our journey. I joke and I laugh and I make fun of this, but I also understand the thing that like if the idea, if the concept of like free will like not existing or like free will not being a thing really stresses you out, then by all means keep on believing that you have free will and the free will was given to you by a god. Like I legitimately have no issues with that. One thing that I want to say is that I wanted to check if I'm the only one who just kind of saw this video and be like, huh? Okay, this comment says, I took this to heart. I woke up, got up, and stubbed my bloody toe on the furniture. So much for that theory. To which this other person responded, well, if you just cleaned your room. I hate when there's funnier people than me. Right, this comment is also hilarious, and I wish I could do a Jordan Peterson impression, but I really can't, and I won't even attempt it because it's gonna be terrible. But this comment just says, well, it depends on what you mean by free. It depends on what you mean by will. In quotes, so. Okay, this is a good exchange that is actually, it makes me feel a little bit better about the fact that I'm not alone in this reaction. So this one guy says, the amount of truth and light this dude is dropping here is genuinely shocking. Shocking would be the right word to use, I agree, but someone responded, it sounded like a load of nonsense to me. The universe is not deterministic, technically speaking. There isn't any dispute about that. This statement is completely false. I agree. The entirety of physics pretty much proves that the universe is kind of predetermined or just goes in a specific direction that we can easily predict. Then it says, you're not a clockwork machine. And the reason that we know that is because clockwork machines can compute the transforming horizon of the future. This is just meaningless word salad, which he doesn't even attempt to explain. I also agree. That was very word salady. Even if the universe isn't deterministic, that in no way implies that free will exists. And that's to say nothing of the fact that nobody has ever come up with any coherent definition of free will, and certainly not Peterson. Free will does not and cannot exist because the concept itself is incoherent and self-contradictory. It's kind of nice to see that not everybody is on board with his explanation of free will. So I would say let's keep the conversation going. Let's not necessarily take a stand and be like arrogant about it, but let's keep the conversation going. I clicked on this video and I'm going to keep on clicking on other videos that are trying to attempt explaining free will because I'm genuinely curious to find out whether or not free will exists. If you're still here, I thank you so much. Please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, doing the whole thing. I want you to leave a comment and say whatever. I want you to give me feedback, just whatever you want to say in the comment, just go ahead. But to prove to me that you watched the video until this point, I want you to pick a random word in your comment and put it in quote.
Day of
Just put quotes around a word in the comment, and I will know that you know that I know that you know. Anyway, stay safe, my friends. Peace out, and I shall see you next time. Hopefully with something more magic oriented.